and that's going to be my talk. So, misconceptions that you may have coming into this talk. I'm going to talk a lot about open source. I'm going to talk about this much about it. That's it. I'm waiting. So, this much about it. Here's why. The idea of open source has been around a long time, and it's been there in different ways, but we just never recognize it as open source. Your mom would tell you, go learn something new, and you would go to the library, newspaper, your friend's house, blah, 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 so on and so on. You'd gather the information to elevate yourself using the tools you have on your own. Whether you like it or not, that's open source. That's other persons contributing to your body of knowledge for you to grow. Simple as that. All right. Why can I talk about this? I always like using this when I'm talking because it helps to give me a little bit of place to say, hey, it's important. I started reading when I was about 2, 3. And I grew up in one of them situations where I have parents who tell you that an education is the best thing you could ever have. They're not right. I will not tell them that to their face, and they're going to watch this and go, yeah! Yeah. But they're right. So reading for me was like my thing. I wear glasses, and I've been wearing glasses since I was 17. I've read every version of Nancy Drew and Hardy Boy in 1 year. My librarians knew me by name. I had privileges to read more stuff, adult books, from when I was like 12. You get it at 14. No, Nerando got it at 12. Because he just liked reading. So, that's me. So I learned how to pull together information for myself. So my journey is that. This is my synopsis. How I learned to be a part of tech. I was a teacher. So I liked code because I could teach 13-year-old children who are slow learners things using computers on a Friday evening when everybody wanted to go home. I could just write code or drag and drop back in the day. So my learning journey was open source code with Notepad. I'd open the source code and just look at it, edit what I want, drag and drop, and it worked. Don't ask me how, it was magic, but it worked. Then MOOCs came around, the early versions, and I used Notepad++. I got onto CS50, the first version, and then the days of code. Then eventually, when I migrated here, I heard about like meetups. freeCodeCamp was my first one, and I went to it in Fayetteville. They had 2 meetings, that closed. Then I came to Sandy Springs, and I've been there since 2017 to current. I then went on to Flatiron, and I currently worked. The best part of all of this is majority of the times I just built it because I knew I needed it, and it was hacked together. There was no formality to it. My disclaimer. This is not a formal research anything. This is just what I think. So, my experiences, my insight, the only bias I have is I know how people learn science. Whether I like it or not, code is more a science than an art form. Yes, it's intuitive, but that's my bias bringing it to it. As usual, Disney never failed. That's one of my favorite scenes of this whole movie. All right. I wrote this a couple days ago, this month, and I forgot it. When I was making my slides, I'm like, hold on, I have something that works perfectly for my talk. Me. So my teachers and my friends, when I was about 13-year-old, they would tell me, and my mom would tell me that you have everything you need to get to the next level. And it's scary, like, we don't have this, I don't have that. No. At any one time, you have everything you need to get to your next level of life you've always wanted. You just have to look. And you have to be disciplined and intentional about it. Is it annoying? Yes. because growth is uncomfortable at any rate. Everybody wants muscles, but nobody wants to diet and or go to the gym and or go for long runs at 6:30 in the morning because my bed is way more comfortable. We want to get better at code. Same thing. Intentional. Whether morning, evening, I don't know what type of person you are. If you're a coffee drinker, drink your coffee. If you're a tea drinker, drink your tea. I don't like tea drinkers like that though. I'm biased, I don't care. All right. So this is my definition. So open source learning in my idea is, this is something I came with. Sourcing the use and consistent practicing and have using, so that shouldn't be there, of no cost to low cost tools to better your craft. So basically using what you have consistently to get better where you are. Bootcamp people in this room and persons who self-learn will learn that you will have the material online and it is literally your responsibility to keep going through it. That's just your thing. Researching this, I learned that somebody actually did the research, and this guy, this is his definition. That's what he talks about. And he's actually local to Atlanta. Look, I never knew until I did the research. I just thought, like, this is a cool topic, but somebody actually did the research and this is his definition. The truth of the matter is that it is also something education is slowly pulling together or embracing, because we slowly realize that learning has changed because the learning we used and currently using is tooled to a 9-to-5 type of personality. The trick is that a lot of us in this room, we work odd hours. We work according to tasks. So we will not, some of us don't want to get to our desk at 9 o'clock and come off at 5 o'clock. We don't want that. We want to be able to finish a task and have the rest of the day, or get up 4 o'clock in the morning and work until 2, or attend to your children, your partners, whatever, your dogs in the morning and work in the evening. So the tools that make you learn have slowly begun to change. He did the research. You can look him up if you want to, and he has some really wonderful insights on the topic. All right. So before we start, the trick now is to get the right tools for the job. We have to assess where you are. You have the newbie, slightly seasoned, the person who I know how stuff works. I am currently between seasoned and I know how stuff works. And the person who's been in it a while who goes, what now? Because you always have to be learning something new. So you have to assess yourself to figure out, okay, cool. What do I need to know? Where am I going next? You finished all of that. You figure out where you are in the whole 9 yards. You're going to have to now figure out, for your favorite teacher in school, who were they? For me, I have 4 teachers off the top of my head I can tell you about. The last one was Britt Butler that I had when I was doing Flatiron. Before that, it was Mrs. Farquharson that taught me Bio 1 while I was a teacher training thing. So my teachers were practical, they understood who I was, they kept me involved, and I have a hamster brain, so that's kind of hard. They made learning sacred. Like, anything I learn, I can tell you about it 5-10 years down the road. Please don't get me started about thermodynamics, because I learned that just because I wanted to. They made learning applicable. I believe at all times that learning should be useful. For those of us who learn trigonometry and never used it, I'm very sorry. When all of that's done, when you understood who they were, you now have to be that for yourself. And the room goes quiet because now we have to do work. You have to be that person for you to grow yourself. Because whether you like it or not, the responsibility for your growth is yours. Let me say that nicely again. Whether you like it or not, the responsibility for your growth in this craft is yours. I just said that, but I now have a slide for it. And this pretty much sums it up. All right, things to consider. What is the cost of your growth? For me, it's these things. And in case you're wondering, that does not say comfort zone. And you have to accept the thing that you're going to change, because all of a sudden your priorities change. I was a reader. Like I would hunt Cussler book at thrift stores. They're in the corner currently gathering dust because I don't have enough time to read them. Do I miss them? Yes, I do. Do I have more priorities now? Yes, I do. And that's just what it is. We will not talk about effort because effort for us is deliberate. All right. Now we thought about how you learn, where are you, what's going to cost. This is the next step. Short-term, long-term, daily, career-wise, whether you're at a company, blah, 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 so on and so forth, whether you are just out of school, whether you're a student, this is your next move. You make the plan. So you figure out how you learn. If you're a visual, your various learning styles, you're going to have to figure out that on your own, and rather than trying to tell you about them, because everybody has a different school of thought, you're going to have to do the research. Again, research is basically half of your life now. So I myself, I like to read and watch anything and make a lot of notes. Sidetrack. This is one of your best buys in your life. An iPad with a pencil, whether first, second generation, or current. At any one day, I have 15, 16 notebooks, and I never finished them. So I migrated to this with the help of one David Neal, aka Reverend Geek. And I have never been the same since. I currently have 20 notebooks on this bad boy. And comics and movies and half-edited videos and talks that I haven't finished yet. That's an idea in my head. Next advice, put it in something like this. If you're forgetful, nobody steals a composition book ever. And you laugh. I left this in my car at the train station, left my car open, went to work, forgot about it, came back, saw it at the same place. I'm like, well, that's the best $27 I've ever spent. All right, so while we're learning how we learn, we come back to the place of doing some self-assessment. So you yourself sit down and have the introspection. Kitchen, table, bedroom. No, avoid the bedroom at learning at all costs. Find a chair, a desk somewhere. And you figure out, okay, how do I get material? How do I get things from my thing? Then you go ask a friend. I have some of the best reflections in this world. He's sitting at the front. Mark Noonan will tell me any day when I'm screwing up, and he sometimes is not pleasant about it. And when he gets excited, I get reminded that he's an Irishman. Then from all of this, you make notes. So I learn like this. You have to continue to write it down, because I've learned that writing reinforces what you've learned, what you think. That's one of the hardest parts. Just act. Now you have to do the work. And I said someone famous because everybody said that. The best way to do it, you just have to now do the work. All right. So your principles after when you start acting are you start one place. For the ones in this room who have the scatterbrain mentality, squirrel is not going to help you. You have to pick one thing. So based on where you are, so if you're just starting out, you go HTML, CSS. If you're a little bit further, you pick a framework and you go ahead. If you're a little bit further than that, I'm going to build this project using this tutorial or on my own. If you're going to do tooling, you do the same thing but at a higher level. One thing, not everything. One thing. Start at the front. Yes, we're tempted to skip a few pages because we are now at the age where we can go forward in our cues at movies and music. We don't have to sit down and watch the whole thing, and there are no ads. Get off that part of your brain. One thing, start at the front and build on each step. You may be from another language, another school of thought, but consistent steps, you build a schema that you can stand on. Or nicest way to say schema is a framework that you can stand on. I need to remind myself not to use educational language while I'm talking about this. Don't skip steps. And while you're building, make stuff. Biggest thing I learned from one of my mentors and one of my teachers, do not copy and paste code. Say it again. Do not copy and paste code. Here's why. When you type, your brain automatically starts remembering small pieces of code. Like an arrow function never clicked to me until I keep typing it. I'm like, oh, cool. That goes there, takes this here, goes there. Never made sense to me until I kept typing it. I'd copy it, but it never made sense. After a while, your brain starts going, okay, that's why that is. And then you get faster at it because you automatically remember where stuff is. Magnolia.js that I was at on Tuesday took this away from one of the talks by James Quick and another lady that I can't remember her name right now. You learn, you build. We're not at teach yet, but for us, you learn, then you build. All right, we've had tools, we've had planning, we have acting. Now we need to be accountable. You need to be responsible for your own learning because nobody's going to hold your hand. But however, we have systems that will help us to get where we're going. So accountability. It's you and yourself. Okay, I need to do this every day at this time because it's important. Friends. And a community. Somebody said if you want to go fast, you go alone. If you want to go far, you go together. It is the same thing in this craft. I've gotten way more opportunities, including this one, from people than me asking for myself. Because they will go, okay, cool. Like I could have called, I was sick for like 2 weeks before this. I could have called everybody and go, hey, I don't want to do this anymore. But then I remember that I have a community that says, hey, show up. Am I scared right now? Yeah. Am I telling that part of my brain to shut up? Definitely. But the community holds you accountable to make sure that you participate. Your friends do the same, and you have to be accountable for you because that's necessary for growth. And if you take a step every day, you go. If you keep doing this, you don't move. I can't move too far because the camera stops right here. If you keep doing this, you're moving your feet, but if I step every day, I'll go further. That's the same thing for code. If you take 20 minutes every day, same thing. But you have to be, words are escaping me right now, so you have to be consistent, or they would say, or purposeful, right? That's the word I'm looking for. Consistency. Tick, 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 tick. We have habits we have that are naturally consistent to us, and doing the work literally needs to fall in the same thing. So, 20 minutes every day. It's a Pomodoro timer, it's a kitchen timer, it's an egg timer, it's anything. It's 20 minutes. It's 4 or 5 minutes section that nothing else in the world matters except sitting down and going, I need to go from here to here and learn this. You can either do 30 days of code or 100 days. I would always start with 30 days and let it add up. Then you're going to have to find or make the time. The famous Danny Thompson gets up at 4. I'm not there yet. I'm up at 5:45 in the morning. On this I can say this. There's this guy who was talking about he lost weight, and he said before he went to the gym, he would get up every morning, get in the car, drive to the door of the gym, drive, shake the hand of the person at the desk, and go home. And they did it for 30 days. They never went in. They're like, they just had to show up for themselves. You have to show up for you. So if you're trying to build a habit and you're not going to write code, get up the same time every morning, make the same time every night. And if you're not going to write the code, start reading something. You have to build a habit. Am I saying I have successfully managed to do this sometimes? Absolutely not. But am I willing to keep trying? Yes. And it sticks after a while. To date, my longest continuous day of coding consistently every day is 56 years. Oh, wow. You have people in here probably doing 100. Nope. There we go. Community. Duct tape my community together. There's one person in this room that knows exactly where this slide is from. So how I built my community, I ask. I'm not afraid to walk into any room, anywhere, and talk to anybody. I don't care like that. I know what I need. And I will go ask the question of either how I can help there and or how they can help me. And I will never directly ask for your help. I just need advice. I can't help myself after that. I've had persons in this room that I literally told them, I know you go for coffee at XY time or go for tea at XY time. Can I sit there with you 5 minutes and talk to you? And I've done that and I've gotten wonderful results. Right now? Okay, cool. You never knew that's what I did, did you?
I knew you were annoying.
Annoying and persistence are two different sides of a coin. So, I have had friends who I do the same thing with, and I talk to them about stuff. I've been to meetups both online and offline. Before I had my own car while I'm living here, I would take the bus anywhere, and I knew the bus system like the back of my hand. And that's before Uber became possible here. Well, popular, not possible. I'd take it because I knew I needed to go. I built a community, I related. freeCodeCamp's my local meetup. Study groups, both online, offline, still do the same. I'm always there. I would urge you to find your place, but the aim at the end of the day is to ensure that you both participate and contribute. Let me say that again. Participate for the persons who go, but I don't know anybody. I don't know anybody to talk to. Nobody cares. If you get in that room, nobody cares. Everybody is there to learn something or to help somebody. And when you get comfortable enough to participate, with your 2 cents contribution, you contribute. When this picture was taken, I was good enough to write CSS and HTML and draw sketches and ask word questions. I was not friends with JavaScript like that. Still am not. But that's what I was able to do. I also took my body of knowledge from my other field and I took it there and I go, okay, cool. I know how to sell stuff. I know how people learn stuff. I know how people buy stuff. That's needed. Whether you like it or not, that's needed. Took that and I went with it. I participated and I contributed. That's your goal. While you're doing all of this, learn to spread your word. Be your best personal advocate everywhere, anywhere. Use the tools that are given to you that are free. So, my favorite, Twitter. The only reason I'm in this room is because of Twitter. Kim Creighton took me, we had Jingle Mingle in 2017 or 2018, and we were in the room just talking. And she asked me if I was on Twitter. I told her no. She took my phone out of my hand, let me sign in, and then added me there. I then learned the importance of talking about your journey. Twitter does that marvelously. There's endless amount of resources. Please remember that the people on Twitter aren't real, so don't get your feelings hurt. And sometimes walk away, and sometimes they will say some dumb stuff and go, and if you start a fight, go, I'm so sorry, and walk away. It's not worth it. Write your own stuff. It's 5-10 minutes. If it's bullet points, write it, put it out on Dev2. I'm not a fan of Medium after the paywall. I don't care. Polywork or any other field. LinkedIn, oddly enough, is a decent blogging platform. Never knew that until I started using it. For those of us who are brave enough to go on video, Twitch works, YouTube works. Podcast works. Some people just want to hear somebody different. I've been on 2 podcasts just because I open my mouth and somebody goes, hey, Nerando, you should talk on this. I'm like, damn it. But at the end of the day, learn to sell yourself. Nobody's going to give the job to the highly skilled person in the back of the room that don't learn to sell themselves. They're going to give the job to the person in the middle of the room who's half decent and learn to participate. Because being more curious is half the time more important than skill. You just need to know how to learn or need to know how to ask questions. Again, and this is a reminder to me, by the way. Not you, I'm sorry. I know all of you will do the work and y'all good like that. All right. So while we're learning, we are tutorial books, YouTube videos, build it. Not copy and paste, type it yourself, build it. You build it, you make notes. There's this course put on somewhere that I finished that I don't remember who put it on, but I can tell you the name of it. It's called Learning How to Learn. It's about 6 weeks long. It's a free certificate on edX. I would encourage everybody in this room to take that course. Everybody, because after a while, they help you figure out your own learning style. And then you make note-taking is a good active form because that's you summarizing somebody else's word under content and putting it in your own words. The missing thing from that is read the notes. I'm just looking at it now going, yeah, read the notes. After you do the tutorials, build your own thing. Again, this is more for me than you. This is me telling myself to become better. If you build a tutorial project, add something to it. If it's simple as adding a button that changes the color, nobody cares. Changing the font style, changing the background, add something to it. Build your own simplified version of the same project. And sometimes when you're brave enough, not if, because growth is a matter of time, build it from scratch. Start over, objectives. It should do this, 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 and this. Here we go. And learn to figure out your own information and go along. All right. This is a pain point for a lot of people because they don't know how to find projects that they think they're good enough to start. The problem with find projects that you are good enough to start is that the mistake is that you keep thinking about you. I don't think I know enough. Again, nobody cares. You ask. They will tell you if you're good enough. Importance. At Current, it helps you to be a social learner. It helps you to understand, take knowledge from other people to build yourself. It gives you experience. There have been a couple of people I know who've gotten jobs just because they have made open source contribution. First time job, pivot job where you are in one position but you want to go over to something else and somebody's going, oh, you have no experience in this, but you're like, oh, I made contributions to this. Even if it's a spelling error, a color error, something, because the whole 9 yards of pulling down the repository, cloning it, making the change, pushing it back up, filling out the pull request, waiting for your pull request to be approved and merge, and you understanding that whole flow while talking to somebody is another ball game by itself. It is a massive learning opportunity. You have to interact with a community or a bunch of other people just to figure out how to do things. And last but not least, those wonderful green squares. So, before persons start going, I can't find my first project, this is the amount of projects that have good first-time issues right now. You don't believe me? Where is it? There you go. And majority of them are well documented. The first 100 are well documented. They will walk you through how to make your first open source contribution in whatever language you like. And you're going to go, oh, you should walk us through that. No, that's kind of your job now because I taught you how to go learn and figure out stuff. It's uncomfortable, yes, but that's now your job because you can do this. The first thing a good teacher does at any one time, they build your confidence. They do not build your technical skills. We all have had the wonderful math teacher that we love, that we learned math and or science and or language of another thing or literature or music because the teacher was wonderful. Not because you like the subject, the teacher. So my job is to help build, hopefully help build your confidence for you to step into the next place. All right, back to my slides. And here we go. Please don't start at the front. There we go. Civic hacking. My friend is going to kill me for this picture. Half of the handwriting on that thing is behind. There is my handwriting. This is when I knew a little bit more. Civic hacking is another tool you can use to better yourself from like using the resources you have. Anybody keeping time? How much time do I have?
15 minutes.
All right, cool. Then give me enough. Everybody here, let's see. This is me. This is our lucky charm. Eric. So the story behind Eric is that every contest Eric enters, anywhere Eric is in the top 3. We call him our lucky charm. This is me, way younger and skinnier. Anvu and Brittany Small. All 3 of us there were first-time tech persons right there learning how to build a solution for the city of Atlanta because it was a real-world problem. Everybody here was from a different field except Eric. Eric knew code, back and front. None of us here knew it, but we had different things. My handwriting at the back was figuring out how to build small stuff, how to build components, figuring out like Brittany's handwriting behind the back was like we needed a website, we needed flyers. Anne's handwriting up there was who is going to speak on this thing? Mark wasn't there tonight. Practice, stuff like that. Everybody carries like, for that, Atlanta gave us problems, we found solutions. It's really important for your city, your state, and I'm learning more and more that civic hacking has become a part of a worldwide movement. Said all of that already. The only thing I never mentioned there is documentation. You have to learn how to write for code, write for regular people to read your stuff along with people who write code. And the networking possibilities are endless. All right. This is a problem for a lot of people when it comes to being you, learning, being a part of everything. We're afraid that who we are may not fit in. Stop it. There's an 80-year-old lady in Japan that learned to write code when she was 72 years old. Here's what she brought. Japan has one of the highest population of elderly in the world. She brings insight from her experiences to the market for software. And she is respected and she's loved. I will not talk about 75-year-old grandma who is a professional gamer who I would not want to play with any day of the damn week. But both persons' values and their authenticity that they're bringing them to the podium, to the world, is something that is needed. Tech needs everybody who is non-traditional because it's a part of us. Hands up for anybody in this room who has only one device, just a laptop or a cell phone. Nobody. We're either at 2 to 3 devices, and that does not include televisions, video games, and everything else. We need people with insights from different places because we bring value, a lot of value. AOB. And the last thing I was saying, there's been the importance of open source knowledge for me is this. I heard one story where there was a company here in Atlanta that makes restaurant POS systems. They were mostly staffed by persons who went to Georgia Tech on their dev team. They needed to calculate how to give a server tips. There's nobody on the team who could write that code. because nobody on that team has ever weighed tables. There's a young lady who came on the team who weighed tables, who went to a boot camp, and she literally goes, oh, here's how you do this, and everybody responded, how do you know this so quickly? Simple. She did something else before tech. I know of one guy who came out of boot camp, and he was a farmer before, and when he came out, the agricultural startup literally let him do one day, paid him exactly what he wanted, and scooped him up. I never want anybody in this room to not understand, A, you can do it. B, you have all the tools you need to get to where you want to go. And C, that you don't matter and there are nothing. C, that you don't matter. D, there's enough tools out there for us to get there. That is it. I don't have anything else. All right. Questions? Matt? Any other business? Go ahead.
How do you move past the blocker of so much information or technology changing? Like if I wanted to learn React, now React has moved on to hooks, and it's moved on to many iterations. How do you move past, where do you put the line in the sand, stake in the sand, when you're so overwhelmed with information about a tool or a framework? So you don't just get that paralysis of starting. Because you want to get the latest and greatest, or do you? You know?
My 2 cents on it.
Can you summarize the question?
So the question is, how do you stay current, right? Good. You don't have to be. For me, I tend to learn the tools I need for the project I need, or I tend to learn the tools I need for where I'm going. There's this thing that I do that every time I need to learn anything complex, I literally type it into Google and/or YouTube, the topic, simplified. There's bound to be somebody way smarter than I who's done the work before who will literally make it so a 5-year-old could explain it. The biggest problem with tech these days is that we write it too complex and we use a magic word, oh, this is easy. Every person who's ever been educated in how science is taught will beat you over the head with a stick. Because that's the stupidest thing, because there's nothing easy, because everybody's coming from they have a different body of knowledge coming to the table. So we should make it simplified. My take on it, do the simple thing, whatever topic, simplified, and build something simple with it, because majority of the times a simplified version of anything will give you good examples. So that's my thing. Anybody else? Yes, Mark? What do you?
I'm so happy that I get to ask you. Did you forget to mention the $40,000?
Yes, I did. Oh, hold on 1 minute. I have it here, I have it here, I have it here. Here we go. So, to answer your question, this is something funny. I'll pass it to you. This is neural networks, which I'm just understanding a copy. Somebody out there thought it would be really funny to write a baby book. The irony of life is that it's really good at explaining the topic simply. Pass it on. All right, so, story time. Story time. With this picture, in 2017 to 2018, Marta, this city had a hackathon. They wanted to solve problems that originated around the city using tech, whether it's tapping your card at the station, reloading stuff. Mark worked with people with disabilities. I bullied him into being a part of a team that solved a problem of how the bus system worked with those kind of people. I bullied him out of making, how much money was it? $500?
That weekend?
Yes.
Yeah, when Nerando speaks about like friends keeping you accountable, he's like, no, you can't go to make $500 this weekend. We have a hackathon to do. You have to be there.
I believed him. There didn't have any control over me, but I believed him.
Yeah, yeah, because that's what I said we were doing, and he said, fine. We went. We did the hackathon 3 times. We got special mention, special mention, special mention. Never won a thing. He wasn't a part of our team then. He just walked in the room to help us. Eric was a part of another team. He walked away with a drone, as we said. Prize unicorn. All right. Atlanta, AT&T then goes, okay, we have a hackathon. We'd love people to solve problems. We're like, all right, shit, we still need help with this thing. Let's go sign up. It was a 6 months to a year-long competition. It was 45 teams entering. We were in the top 6. Shocked the hell out of all of us. We're like, okay, cool. We're not going to win any money. But if we do, we're already helping the charities that work on paratransit problem. Let's put it like this. Marta had a lawsuit because they left somebody outside in the cold. So we really wanted to solve the problem. We helped them get better by a lot because all of a sudden we helped them figure out that they needed software, that they need, because they actually write down on a piece of board when a driver is to go pick up stuff. We helped them get better at that by implementing software. We're like, all right, cool, no problem. We're not going to win any money. Signed a contract between all of us because Brittany is a financial person. Now, you know, you don't want money ruin friendships because we're all still good friends. All right, this is where the money is going to go. Eric says he's going to go back and go to Mexico and help out because that's where he's from. He's going to take his share. All right. The final 6 came up. We heard we are, 2 different categories, one from a business side, one from an open source contribution side. We're like, all right, cool. Grand prize, we're going to just win. It was what, 40, 20, and like 5? We're like, all right, cool. We're just going to do 5 and give it away. We're like, cool, no problem. I'm there holding the camera going, I didn't hear our name between the first 4 rounds. I'm like, did they forget about us? Ladies and gentlemen, I heard our name as winners for 40 G's. My knees gave out. He was on a plane to an appointment because he presented then left. So it was me and these 2 presenting and we won. All of us went. We just gave away 40 G's. That's when Bitcoin was $17,000 and we could have all bought Bitcoin that November, put it in, double it by December and still gave away the same money because she was on top of crypto. The advantage to that is that I've gotten an interview just for that story. It returned to me because when I was going to go to boot camp, somebody saw that I did that and they're like, all right, cool, this dude deserves a scholarship. And that also helped me to get money to do other things. This is one of the best stories of my life. I've made good friends. It helped me to understand why open source contributions are important and why civic hacking is important. That's the hackathon story from Mark that I'm a part of. He will walk around and tell everybody if you want somebody to hold you accountable, get a Nerando. That's not true. I'm not that bad of a person. I just really want you to grow. That's just my thing. From being a teacher to being who I am now in tech. If you tell me that I'm responsible for helping you, I am so sorry for what I'm about to do to you. All right, that's it. Any more questions? My handle on Twitter is this. That's the quickest way to reach me. My DMs are open.